Hey guys, and welcome back to our channel. So if it's your first time to be on this channel, please make sure you subscribe and turn on that notification bell so that every time I upload any video you'll be updated. Okay, so let's get into today's video. Okay, so a Black American sister reached out asking, like, honestly, what the white community really thinks about Trump's segregation ban. And honestly, I'm curious too. Like, the Black community has made their stance clear, but we want to know, like, how do white folks really feel about this? So for those who don't know, Trump recently pushed to ban segregation in places, but what do everyday white Americans think about this? I took some time to gather and filtered clips from around TikTok, and let me tell you, white folks came out in numbers. Some answers are quite shocking. Like, I didn't expect this, from palm colors. I won't spoil this video for you guys because I want you to watch these clips for yourselves. But here's my question to all of you. Do you think this ban will bring black folks and white folks a bit closer at least? Or it will just bring old tension back? Please drop your thoughts on this after watching what these white folks in these clips are saying. I'll be right back.
White people, how do you feel about the segregation ban? I already know how people of color feel and other minorities, but what about y'all? How do you feel about this? Like, are you happy? I know that's kind of like a setup, huh? Because if you're all like, yeah, and I'm like, oh, we found him. But no, I'm like curious, like, because I mean, it doesn't really affect y'all unless you have like a partner or something like that, or kids who are obviously people of color. Other than that, just straight up white people, no relations to any people of color. How do you feel about this? Are you just like, damn, that's crazy for you? I mean, are you shocked? Like, I'm laughing because me and my people, we've already been through shit. So it's like, at the end of the day, I have faith that we will be okay. I guess for the Karens and the Kevins out there, it's like good. That way you don't have to be mad at any black person or other person of color coming in your territory and questioning them. You get to just chill and deal with your own people. Let me know how you feel.
How does it make me feel? I'll tell you. It pisses me the fuck off. We have fought so hard over countless years to fight for equal rights and to destroy Jim Crow segregation. And now, even though we're trying to declare that it's a federal ban, we're bringing back this whole segregated spaces, black only spaces, white only spaces. It's disgusting. I may be 50 years old this year, but I'll tell you, I was never taught at any point in my life that because of my skin tone, I somehow had some greater merit to deserve more things in this world simply because I have this lack of melanin. I was never taught, with presenting my skin tone as it is, that somehow I would be smarter or better than anybody else. The only people I know that kept that kind of racial stereotype or that kind of garbage are people from my grandfather's generation who lived through segregation and lived through the civil rights movement. And this whole idea of we're going to ban DEI across the nation is the same argument that conservatives were making during the whole affirmative action mess back in the 80s and 90s. Oh, you only got hired because you're black. No, that's bullshit. That is a bullshit and debunked argument. The way affirmative action was written in the 80s and 90s was to force employers to consider people of color who still had the appropriate qualifications, whereas before they wouldn't have even considered a person of color simply because they were a person of color. They were only allowed to be hired if they had the qualifications, i.e. they could present that through the proof of their resume and through the proof of their work skills. Diversity, equity, and inclusion was created under the vanguard idea and the very wonderful idea that we are better collectively, different ages, different ethnicities, different outlooks, we are collectively better together with different points of view than simply a myopic one-way view through one race only. And I'd like to add this whole conservative rhetoric of whites only, they're the only ones that have the merit, that we're building a meritocracy. That's all white supremacist propaganda. So no, not only am I willing to share the same water fountain.
All right. How I feel about it? I'm scared. I'm afraid. I know the stories of what happens to those of minority that goes out every day. I know what would happen if my daughter, who's mixed, will go out and something would happen. I'm not happy about this at all. And what he did is unconscionable.
As a white person currently living with my all black family right now, and I'm in the LGBTQ, and I'm, femme presenting, even though I'm non-binary. I have never liked any of the Republicans, anything, ever. Since I was a kid. I remember in the 80s not liking stuff going on, but not understanding it at the same time. But, I just didn't understand why they would vote against something that helps people. It just never made any sense to me. So, as for this whole segregation thing, I'm absolutely against it for so many reasons. First of all, where can I go with them, when they go places? Because I just want to hang out with them. I don't want to hang out with other people. Not, I'm just going to get into an argument if I go hang out with other white people, because I'm just going to argue with them, because that's what I end up doing. Because I can't talk about bullshit. I can only talk about bullshit for about this much, and then I want to talk about actual things and real things and politics and personal beliefs and philosophies and stuff like that. These are things I really enjoy talking about. So if they open their mouth and some nonsense comes out, I'm gonna start arguing them and poking holes in all their bullshit, because I'm well, that's blah blah blah. I'm gonna get into a lot of fights, is what I see happening if I have to hang out with other white people, because they always argue with me. They always argue with me, okay? They always argue with me about everything, because they don't understand why I don't want segregation and things of that nature. They just don't understand me, and I don't understand them. And I'm fine with not understanding them, and I'm fine with arguing with them, because I don't know how to shut the fuck up. So, if they do this, and I'm stuck going to all white spaces, I predict problems. Problems for me. Problems for them, mostly problems for me. But yeah, so I'll just hang out with my family, and then if they really go lean heavy into it, I don't know what we're gonna do, because I don't leave the house that much anyway. They can just give me takeaway for when they go to their places. Yeah, I'll just get takeaway. They can bring it back to me, because I'm not gonna be allowed to go. So it's weird. I don't like it. I hate this. I hate everything about this. I just really want to punch a bunch of people in the throat, but you're not allowed to do that, because it's socially unacceptable or something like that. Whatever.
I want to know how we feel about segregation. I'll tell you how I feel. I can't speak for everybody, but I'm gonna be real honest with you. I've always been told history repeats itself. Now they've erased history, and people fought for desegregation, and now you guys want to segregate yourselves again, history repeating itself. Does anyone know what the definition to insanity is? You have to do the same thing over and over again and expect a different outcome. That's how I feel about it. I don't know how the rest of you feel. Y'all better stay prayed up. They trying to bring back fucking history. They repeating itself because they keep erasing it. I love you, darling. I hope y'all realize that we already did this once. We don't need to do it again. Stay prayed up.
See, when you're a kid, you don't know what racism is. And I grew up in a church that was extremely diverse. Some of the founding members of my church were not white. Some of the founding members of my church were really good friends with my grandmother and my great-grandmother, who were not white. I grew up being around these same people who had these friends in church, but when they would go home, they would make stupid jokes. And my great-grandmother, all of us went to the same church. My great-grandmother on my dad's side had a statue on her porch, if you catch my drift. And I thought it was the cutest thing growing up. I didn't know what it was. I hate this shit. My first crush in church was one of those same women who had signed the contract for the church. Her grandson and I were in the same Sunday school, so we were really good friends. And by the time I was old enough for my grandmother and my mom to, like, have a discussion with me, I was probably about 8 or 9 when my grandmother sat me down at church in the same pew, right where I sat next to this same boy, and said, "Well, honey, you know that the Bible is against this, right? You guys can be friends, but you can't be more than friends. You understand this, right?" No, don't, never have, never will. I don't understand the separation. I don't know where they got that there shouldn't be mixed genders or... Yeah, it's kind of the same thing to me. Like, them hating on the LGBTQ in my life, the way that it's made me feel has been the same way that they treated me when I was friends with people that were not white. I have no friends because basically I was trying to please everybody in my whole life, and the only way that I could please people was to not keep people in my life that my family didn't like or agree with. And I learned years later that that wasn't the way to go. And as I'm rambling on, I hate this. I hate this. I hate it. It stopped me from being able to express myself in who I liked when I was a kid. And the hate is growing so bad that I don't understand where it came from. It makes me mad. Like, all of this shit makes me mad. It makes me uncomfortable. It makes me sick. When the world is in chaos, it literally affects me. I know it does everybody else, but seeing the way that people hate each other fucking kills me, because I've always been that person. I've always been that girl who always loved everybody as long as they were nice to me. I didn't give a shit what their skin color was. So yeah, this is bullshit. This is bullshit. It's stupid. Like, why are we in this year, 2025?
I'm a white dude married to a Latino woman, and we have a son together. But even if I wasn't married to my wife or had my son, fuck Jim Crow. Separate but equal is never equal. And I know folks are going to come into my comments probably say, but Dave, his executive order only affects federally contracted facilities. And I would tell those people to shut the fuck up, because red states will see that as a precedent, enact their own Jim Crow policies, and it could possibly bleed into the private sector. I want my minority homies to know that it cuts both ways, though. And if it ever got that bad, it would be fucking hilarious for me to walk down the street and see no whites allowed signs on businesses, or whites eat in the back, or the white shitter is a porta-john in Texas in July. Like begets like. Just remember that if you're pro this bullshit, if you support Trump and his policies, it will come back and bite you in the ass.
It is deeply concerning. I mean, I never wanted in my lifetime to ever even potentially have to experience a world where we're not allowed to commingle, or we're not allowed to partake in diversity. And I never wanted this. I never wanted this. And I'm really worried that this administration is not going to stop there. Like, are we actually regressing back to chattel? How far is this gonna go? I don't like it. I voted for the progression of our society, not the regression. I wanted us to get better and do better in the future. I don't want this.
I'm fucking disgusted by it. I'm ashamed. I'm embarrassed. I want to scream. I want to yell. And I want to hug people of other races because I can't imagine how fucking targeted you all feel. And then I just want to slap my fellow Mayo Sapiens and tell them to get their shit together because what the fuck, man? The caucasity! Anywho, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for them. I don't support. I don't agree. I'm sorry.
All right, so let's wrap this up. After breaking down all these clips and reactions, one thing is crystal clear. The response to this segregation ban has been revealing, to say the least. I mean, who would have thought that we would see so many white folks openly opposing this policy? It is surprising, but also makes you, wonder, like, what's really driving this? Is it genuine solidarity, or is it the fear of losing the cultural and economic benefits that come from Black communities? Because let's be real, okay? This isn't just about morality. It's about convenience, comfort, and in some cases, self-preservation. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't white people who truly believe in equality. I know they do exist somewhere out there. But when you see the sheer number of them suddenly speaking out against segregation, it makes you pause, are they against it because it's wrong, or because they are starting to realize how much they stand to lose if Black people fully step away? Think about it. What happens to when Black culture isn't there to define it? What happens to music when Black artists aren't settling the trends? What happens to fashion when Black creativity isn't driving it forward? I mean, even something as simple as food, like that woman who said, okay, this one made me laugh. She was like, I'm not going back to colorless food. This shows how deeply intertwined Black influence really is. And that's the irony here. The people pushing for segregation think this is some kind of punishment for Black folks, but they're in for, a rude awakening, because Black people have been, surviving and thriving under worse conditions for centuries. Black people have built their own schools when they were banned from theirs. I mean, Black people have created their own music when they stole, and they rebranded it. Black people started their own businesses when they refused to give them loans to start businesses or to hire them. So us, okay, on them it's us, as in I'm a Black person as well. So if they think that this is going to break Black people, break Black American people, they are decades behind time. Behind times. If anything, this might be the push that finally makes Black America focus inward, investing in their own businesses, supporting their own things, reclaiming their power, our power, without asking for permission. And let's talk about the bigger picture here. First, they came for DEI, then they came for, the Black Lives Matter, and they are flirting with the segregation again. And what is next? At what point did people wake up and realize this isn't about safety or tradition? It's about control. But here's the difference. This time, Black folks aren't marching. We aren't begging. We're just watching, and maybe that's what scares them. I guess, the most. Because when you've spent centuries demonizing a group of people only to realize that they don't actually need you to survive, what's left? I'm going to leave that question for you guys to respond, okay? I'll tell you what's left. Regret. The same way they regret banning DI when corporations started losing black dollar, black talent, black. It's in the process, so I'm not going to mention a lot of this. The same way they regret attacking the Black Lives Matter. I know they do regret that when white allies, do we still have white allies, started pulling their support, and please mark my words, they'll regret this too. Because when the music gets stale, when the fashion gets boring, when the culture loses its soul, who are they going to blame? Certainly not Black Americans, not us. We'll be too busy building our own things, okay? So here's my question to you. Do you think this is like a question for you, my fellow Black brothers and sisters. Do you think this backlash is sincere, or is it just panic setting in? The backlash the white folks are giving to whoever started all this segregation ban thing. We know what I'm talking about, right? And more importantly, how far do you think this will go before they realize that they made a mistake, a huge mistake? Please drop your thoughts in the comment section down below. And please, let's keep this conversation going, but let's keep it respectful. No hate, no trolling, just real talk. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, because trust me, this story isn't over. Like, this is just the beginning of everything. I'll definitely see you in my next video. Please stay peaceful, stay home. 5th April is coming. We are still resting, right? Are we? I'll see you in my next video.